amasung semgattaba matamda maduda inakhiba maduda hainakhiba wafam sing ado aihana archive sing chatuna thijarubada phanglakpa documents sing yumpham orega lari asi iningbagi ithilama phawrakhibani adu erabadi aihana miyamda wahang oina hangduna nainaningabadi archive abise kyamu yamna maru oibage. What is the significance of archives? Is archive authentic or are archives authentic? Can we rely on archives? Aina chithi ama phange 1947 ni iramba aina chithi ama phange 47 46 48 49 hariba chithi hariba chebao sing hariba warol sing telegram sing ase tasheng namak thokiba thodokla natragna thokidabra haiba si karamna warep nagani haibo famdi lai aduna maram oraga archive ase ariba matamgi wafam sing yauramba document che chang akoina thengna matamda haiba che chang asida kayamu yamna dependable oibage haiba si acho wahang amadi oidaba natte adubo aihana author ki benefit amasung readers ki benefit aihana haining baside archive haiba se ariba matamgi posak ama aiba matamgi akoina reference ne sizinaba yaba document ama oiba yai haiba sima ahanba thamningi ani shuba matamda archive haiba sina empirical research empirical hypody scientific over evidence the based over argument pina bohnabda aikuna archive sizina bi toigumasung archive is karino hypotaraga matang asidadi ayana seasonary ba archive se official over documents sing gamari lenaba adugumba che chang ngaktani hana lozani karigumba aikuna seasonary ba che chang archive sing ase official over tarabadi masida arubo fam yawi madudi laingakna miyam da uhanba yare haiba adugumba document khattabuna aikoina archive na ubagi khudong chaba legani aduga laingakna masidi miyam da uhanba yadaba document ni hairabadi madugi wafam ador madugi che do miyam gi level da tholak loi haiba sisu aikoina khangba tai adu erabadi aikoina archive thengnare aikoina ariba matam gi che thengnare hairiba sidi laingakna ayaba piraba declassified torba document sing aduni haina lopam thoi ayana khanjabada those documents that I have used in my book, that is particularly in chapter 2, these documents are declassified documents. As long as the government is not going to declassify any sort of document, the public shall probably have no chance of looking at those documents. Therefore, we are talking about declassified documents. Even within the declassified documents, you have problems like NT. You know NT? Archive umla chatpiro archive da catalog ta yengbirani catalog da haramani xyz diary du page hana che thazat ngani aduda matam amada leitaba taraba natran makhoni yenghaning da tarabadi NT non traceable hana reply lakani kanana trace tawani nobody knows. Researchers will never come to know how shall we trace that particular document. Therefore it will remain ever untraceable, non-traceable, NT. So when I was trying to do research on this particular topic, I had faced situations when I was replied with NT, non-traceable. I was trying to look into the catalog of the archives, and when I requested for reading the Sima Asumna Lak Pasina, Igi Larik Asida in a chapter 1, the information Amaka Mayam Tamzani, Larik Iba, Maruaya, Ching Manungaleba, Aikogumba, India Putoliba mainstream films in the Zangali Haina Haibiba, University Singna, Aikoibu data Koma clerk on Uba. Manipur University the Tamliba Mahoi Singh Karigumba Mapalam University Chatpi Tarabadi, Adomase academic clerk among Uyebo. You are a specimen to provide information to the mainstream scholars, which is a very Brahminical attitude. Ain haisi researchers sing amta munal chingsen biu adom se academic clerk amane ba information pi na ba adusu mapalam ge mayang scholar sing da Manipur da nupi amana chahi tara druk chara heli mami mana yung khala tani. Oh, how does it happen? Manipur da misi encounters tawi extrajudicial killing question le. How does it happen? These are the questions you may probably have. So you are gradually converted into a specimen who is going to provide information to mainstream theoretical Brahmin. Theory sagatpana makoigi mathau information pibana aikoigi thau oina lakhiba siga mari lengana aina chapter 1 asi izaki khudam oina hairabda aina chapter 2 da yauriba archival source Shillong the Kai Toki Bagi Hibasi Evasi Lorapa Matamda New Left Review and London the Fongba World quite a mumming chapter journals in Manunda Ama Oiba New Left Review and Amalay Aina article as it high Amta Pongbiona. And I was very confident that the article has some new insights into the understanding of what happened in Shillong and what was happening in the borderland called Northeastern India. Now the point was interesting when I received a reply after 6 months from New Left Review London. New Left Review London I want to reply makalai makoini irei sumaina tension labada. Your article is having a fascinating account within quote. Next, they said it made its publication unquote, but it was never published. Aigi article si yamna research padan torope oi aduga masi phongpam ju thoi ena reply tore adu phongkhide makoina karigi damakta makoina hai our journal is a generalist journal and we are very sorry to carry a story which is related to Manipur and northeastern part of India. Now I mention a term called generalist. Generalist haibadi mainstream. Mainstream you wapam oi dabana maram oiduna adongi article say koi phong badi ngamlaroi adubu masi phongpham di thopa article ni hairaki New Left Review na. I was very anxious, angry and felt that I was completely kicked out of the entire possibility of writing in the academia. Now sina maram oirakanda aina yamna nuwaitabadagi first article of the book si izakibani. Aduna laisi ahanba article asida ina sumaina makon irak palona du season raga ina sumaina ibani only title du kadang patok serake Immortality of the Past, a response to generalisting. How kiba matam siban ide. It's past is not a dead body. It is a living body always. The ideas always remain alive. Therefore issue the Bengali scholar amana Calcutta gi gali amagi matang de theorize to bududi world ki theory mo biya Greek ki scholar amana Athens ki matang ibududi ekoi ngasi bo simpha pu bo phona bo mark phangna bagi note pu to bo tawrisni dana. The point however is that your capacity to grow intellectually and epistemically is already decided by somebody else, and therefore you need to write. Even you don't need a big publisher to do it. You can fund yourself and circulate the ideas. That is the whole purpose of publishing this book through a Imphal based publisher called PCW. My point is very simple. Aikhoina lari iba aikhoina wakal khanbasigi panthung ase aikhoina pamba thaktu yoba ngamdaba matang lai karigino haiba matamda nangi idea do ghetto wise toba nangi idea do localized toba nangi idea do particularized toba na maram orga they stop you from growing intellectually as well as ideationally. and therefore you'll be deprived of any philosophical and abstraction growth. Philosophical growth su thinge, adu abstraction ki growth su thinge. Ngasi Manipur University da tamliba PhD toriba or MPhil toriba natragana whatever research toriba mayam da sigi anxious oiba sigi concern si lehani natrapadi aiko knowledge contribution toba ngamlaktaba yai madagi boundary do thugai ba se aiko ge responsibility ni haibasini aina sum makha chatharak pada 1949 ase dalak lage 1949 da Shillong da 21st September da Manipur India da Lokshile merger tawre haidan document amakak tholai ningthona yaning da signature tawre haibase ngasi mirol na khangi amasung ningthona 21st September 1949 da sign torbe agreement ase 29 September 1949 da matamdugi leramba Manipur State Assembly na yaning de haiduna resolution lawke bagi wafam sulai adu arabadi Shillong da tawkiba merger agreement si on record ta matamdu da leramba government aduna India gi saruki government nataba autonomous oiba government aduna matamdu gi Shillong gi merger agreement yaning di haidana 29 September third session of the first assembly of the Manipur decided and objected and condemned the merger agreement. Shillong times the annexation of Manipur and Fongi. Asumna tauduna matamdu leramba MSF matamdu leramba chhatri gi lup singna matamdu phonglama newspaper singna ek adubu haiba merger adubu yaning da phongdo khibai wa from on record talai. I have nothing to say on this because it was well recorded. Now masi aina haijabagi maram di karigino 1949 as a in a perspective I going asi horle mirol na 1949 ge thaudo asi mami shengdana uba gumba ama leibatona tawi madugi mami shengda bodo thugai na bagi damuktani aina haijabase it happened very clearly and there were reports there were letters which is mentioned in the book. To be precise, the government of India of that time knew very well that they were violating a lot of provisions of international law and they were also violating a lot of democratic procedures of integrating a state. Having said this, I want to go to a couple of references. Merger agreement tawdringagi mamangda 1947 August ki 11 I repeat 11 August 1947 almost 2.5 years before the signing of the merger agreement, the Manipur government, the Maharaja of that time, had signed an agreement with the government of India, which came to be known as standstill agreement and instrument of annexation. 11 August 1947. Maduda kari haige Manipur ki list three issues pitokre: communication, external affairs, and defense. Masi Indiana take care lobi wana. Aduna tapadi 47 August 11 August 47 dagina 15 August fawgi manung dale amba matam sidati Manipur ki haiba achoba responsibility ahum mase government of India na pai khi haina lobi ai. Adubo Indian Independence Act haidana Britain dagi Clement Attlee na sign tawra tharakiba Indian Independence Act ki matungina di section 7 Clause B gi matungina di hana agreement leramba amata chanaroi 15 August dagi haiba 14 August ki numidang dagi haidana yaubana maram oraga Manipur na pithoba list ahum dusu pithoktre haina lobi yarisini. So simple. I don't want to confuse you with the dates. My simple point is that Manipur had a very distinctive political journey of governing herself. And that's a very important point for the generation today in terms of research and in terms of understanding a historical phase which continue to reverberate even today. Simayare, howzek sigumba makhalgi ningthaunasu aidi huzik sign tobagi power leitre maramdi Manipur elected government leire haizaraba Manipurugi matamdugi assembly su condemn toraba matamdugi papers sing na su namna lokshan bani hairaba adu wafam sing ado karam na tholokibano hairabadi India gi punba paba nationalist hairiba adugumba Indian ideology ko ba Perry Anderson na adugumba wakhalon aduna namdana thon khibani aduna ni matamadugi ahanba home minister Sardar Patel na don't you have a brigade in Shillong hairiba Shillong the brigade leitabra hangakpa shaudana Manipur ki ningthaudana karigino sign to yadribado hai atopa amadana India gi afaw scholar moina lairiba Sanjeev Baruana, the integration of state was like using an authoritarian accent. Authoritarian accent habadi namlo gi wakhal yawba adugumba wakhalon leiba process amani hana loki asumna tawduna after a 5-day drama 5-day dramas aina haibanate matamdu later de yawrambani 5-day drama tawro matungda Manipur Bharat ki phiban nung de yawki haibase makhoi gi letter sing de yawrami asumna tawduna Manipur gi ningthaw ado yaningdana Manipur ningthaw agreement sahi tawki aduga October 15 1949 da Manipur Bharat tille hana officially thoki asumna lakpa sina aina hojik mayam da thamning base ai am sang matam logjaning de karigino haiba matam da tiliba miyam gi matam gi ikai khumna badu uchege aduga to the point lakcharaba matam da ai khoi hojik ihan han bada writing is a political exercise when it comes to questions like 49. Number 2, writing is never an easy thing because you have a chance of getting particularized because knowledge is segmented into the universal and the particular, which is a very, very problematic proposition. Thirdly, writing is never a neutral exercise. It is always heading towards some kind of position taking. And if you are simply trying to be very neutral, then you are not doing a research. You are simply not studying what has already been done. Research the we are not only reading what others have done, we are trying to re-examine what others have done. That's the meaning of research. Aduna karigumba research kara the descriptive oidana dum tomana do harami chawbana do harami sumchat khibalai madugumba research ado aikona paba yam why karino research anoba ideas questions puthorokti aina toina haizaba akoina afaba wahang ama hangdrabadi afaba paukhum kaidong odu phangoi khudam moina hairabada a good question is a necessary ground for having a good answer. Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, they were famous for asking good questions because their questions were about what is a good life. Do we ask any question today as a researcher? Do we have a good life in Manipur? That question will become very important if we want to have a good life in our country or our state. Right. With these dimensions in my mind, I want to go towards the conclusion of the discussion. Aroiba chapter da aina wafam kharapalli wafam si aingondadi aige thamoidadi yamna phawba aduga masi ai hoju su article am iri loibudi loire article do adugi article du dana aina maming ase biography of frontiers kawi biography of frontiers in a tholi aduga sigi lyrics dana aina fixation traps and fallout sai fixation you are being fixed by somebody else even without your consent. That is a problem. Aizi kanano haibaze aina lepchadaba mi atopana aigi maramda lepiba haibadare khudamona aikoise junglini haiba se. It's not that we are saying we are jungly, but somebody else is saying that you are a jungly. Now this point becomes very important in doing research, in circulating ideas. With this perspective in mind, I want to say that the idea of Northeast is already fixed externally. Aikoige ayaba yaudana atopa mina aikoise awang nong pokta leibani haina haibi khibasina maram oiduna ano designs of administration ano designs of governance foko na haibana governmentality haibatu adugumba mayam puthorappa sina aikoina yamna wana hingi haibasigi wakhallon ama yaurei khudamoina mayam da karigumba wahang ama laklaba 1949 da Manipur si karigi damakta no asuk yamna loshin da baya da badona tawkhibase haiba tarabo wahang se laklabadi paukum ama khaklai madudi matam adu da communism gi hausi yamna kankhiba. Wherever I went, I found Hizam Irabot very popular haidana matam dugi Assam ki governor amadi matam dugi diwan haikiba on record lay. So there was a fear that there could be a communist revolution in the borderland called Manipur, which you in international politics you call it domino theory. International politics domino theory haibado mafam amada communism leradi thangnabadasu lakani na khanba. Burma the communist revolution tholakpa, China the communist revolution tholakpa adana Manipur the communist revolution yorakani haina chingna ba ama nationalist sing to the leiramba adana Manipur do liberal government na lotion daba yadaba wakhlon lakhiba asumna pakumadu pihaningi aina aroibada haining badi wafam kharani aina mayamgi mateng oinaba maroina aina address tawjari student researcher sing dani haina laujai aigi speech ki mawang ase loiselakpada I have taken about 15 minutes so far 16 minutes I'll take another 2-3 minutes aina haining base idea of notice as a externally fixed over sina externally governmentality ma'am introduced away khoida and AFSPA is one of the examples aina masidai ta in haining base agam benna mioi bagi punsiro la se mioi bagi nati punsiro la si makhalani lai amana joyous ZOES amana bios joyous tadi animalistic way rights like the afaba punsirol karino hangbaya de adu bios changselak matam dadi afaba punsi karino corruption laitaba manipur pami haibiya doriba adu hagamben gi philosophies da ina laujaraga ina lyrics da puthoksa mafam kharasi karigumba aduni adani hana haibiraba matamda mafam dugi tongan ba governmentality tholokpa asiga ironana mafam adu the rights ki question as endangered or isini aduna sige camp tawna khaidorokpa agambena ibadi concentration camp the Jews mayam hatpado adugi mafam duda rights laitabado aduna maram orakanda hingbi punsi ado mioi ba mon hingba ngambagi mota sagi maung hinglakpa adugi nungnang ba phongdoktuna agambena camp ki wakhalona se puthoi asumna manipur da natragana malengi mafam singda bios oirambadigi joyous da hankiba yabe khudong saba leirabadi madu social science tawri bai khoina research tawri bai khoina yamna kupna yengpham thoi aduna camp ki manung da laikhigadra haibasi ka akiba aigi research amadi aigi ai basi daina pukhali loishilakpada agam benezu haibiriba bare life na bare life of a life without rights a life without any security therefore you have a danger of falling into what you call bare life bareness of life naked life we are feeling protected only when we put on some clothes in winter right we feel protected only when our rights are not hampered the question however is that are your rights even including the natural rights are safe or not that's a big question I leave the authors with now the point at last is that the notion of tilting towards Southeast Asia the question of tilting towards Southeast Asia sak manabagi food manabagi habit manabagi aduna culture manabagi wakhalonda akoigi somda leiba nokpo awang nokpo ta leiba miyoi singna east lom da yengbagi wakhalon ama lakli basisu ngasi political reality gi saru ama oirak pra haina ai chingnai haibase ai gi lariki maning da so ani izabani aduna masigi hauzeki unlawful organization so called unlawful organization a wasiatiki concept of puthorok pasisu it's a reflection of that tilt towards east right so with these words in my mind I may have left out a lot of things but I want to respect your time I value your time I koi Manipur da hujek yam sang sang na ngang bi hainabi leiba generation khara leiba mali that defeats the purpose of speaking and discussion so in order to uphold the idea of discourse idea of debate I wish to hand over the mic to our friend Miraj Gauri thank you
once again hello sound not feel okay hello
yes okay thank you once again sir aigi ojani I will like takpirakpa aduga ikoi kamal legacy ma aiga sir Dr. Ramam Noniga punbaze Delhi gi Manipur Student Association Delhi masat harga khangnaba student organization amani equine institution amoina lojai maduda kamal legacy ma haitare gi sarnoni si matamamada general secretary oina thopobirame ado ga aijo masaki volunteer moina matam sangal lerabe aduna sigi kamal legacy ama khakti sarga pulle and also aibu like acting na tapira pone agi ojani and again sir na aibu marupan habibu do it's little uncomfortable sir okay and once again sir taram okchari kai khunu buchari aduga mayam dasu hariba like asi mayam ayamba pana basu yoromani aduna like sigi matang da hena discuss tawnaba gi room da mayam da pizarake adubo ahan baje sir da hangjaning baje theoretical argument ama circular se pabam tam dai khoina yam kanna yaw base masina aikogi manipur gi historical narrative ama sagalakna ba hotna ba kanda thengnari ba kudungchada ba challenges mayam adu loina mak madugi whole ideas mayam to carry to base ngasagi generalist denial and the repression of historical moment haibagi matang sini sir sigi matang sida directly lactringi da sir na whole argument ama puthoi base maruina the takeover of Manipur 1949 gi saruk sida sir gi arguments gi response amani haidana khanbibra handak India gi Union Home Minister Amit Shah na Andaman Nicobar da Manipur gi history gi matang da Manipur se masa gi constitution leijaba maning ta baleba amu oirami haidana haigi bagi matang se sir kamai nu
mayam tabi ko ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯉꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯑꯦꯡꯀꯔꯅ ꯍꯪꯕꯤꯔꯤꯕ ꯋꯥꯍꯪ ꯑꯁꯤ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯃꯔꯨꯑꯣꯏ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯉꯁꯥꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯖꯈꯤꯕꯗꯣ 1949 ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯤ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯁꯨ ꯍꯤꯡꯂꯤꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯋꯥꯐꯝ ꯑꯃꯅꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯤꯅꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯑꯣꯏꯒꯅꯤ ꯍꯟꯗꯛ ꯆꯌꯣꯜ ꯑꯍꯨꯝꯒꯤ ꯃꯃꯥꯡꯗ ꯌꯨꯅꯤꯌꯟ ꯍꯣꯝ ꯃꯤꯅꯤꯁꯇꯔ ಶ್ರೀ ಅಮಿತ್ ಶಾನ ಮಣಿಪುರ ಅಸೆ ತೋಮ್ಥಿಲ್ ꯉꯥꯂꯝꯕ ꯃꯁꯥꯒꯤ ꯂꯩꯉꯥꯛ ꯄꯊꯥꯞ ꯂꯩꯖꯔꯝꯕ constitution leramba leipa amani haiki base ayaki aiba sida response to bani haina haiba makte haizening de adubu manipur ge miyamna lisang sitna aikoi ge puari ge tangkakta aikoi iromdom lepa ngambagi adugum la pangal adu leijarami haina kuina lawrakpa adugi sakhang bani haina lawi
okay sir yam noise sir aikoi ge yam fajaba pakhum amani sana pibi base aduga sir yam interesting oiba part si sargi lyrics ite yauriba bachak mayam ama sigi manungda loinamak nainabagi tanjadi phangloroi adubo sir 1947 gi 14 August Manipur ningtamme haibagi mamangda thokiba political events sing da madugi achobu implication leiba yabase maroina India gi integration da sanadi 1947 gi Indian Independence Act ki wafam je pukhatpire sigi mamangda standstill agreement amasung instrument of accessions masi sign tongnagi bagi matang se sir sign tongnagi habade adumak lyrics sing da panba adu Manipur gi Maharashtra sign tawgi habagi wafam je mande dum palakanda kamaina sign tawgi bano document ji ekoi phaminaraga unaraga over a meeting over a cup of tea tawgibara karam haina tawgibana sir sigi finding sigi
matangda aina archive ki sources sing da thengna badi nati adu oral source dai haizake
yes
mirajna hangi bohang se yamna marik chumba standstill agreement haiba siga instrument accession haiba se maji form amugumane akoina thabak changbai form thaba du mai thaba phoda mane
okay
matam aduda adana matam duda Lord Mountbatten sidajda Jawaharlal Nehru na convince to bane ba if you go without ensuring such a document the relationship between the dominion of India and the princely state shall be in a very shaky position.
Okay.
Therefore, please do a favor to the Indians, that is nationalists, by letting out them sign a document called standstill agreement and instrument accession. Therefore, see a format as a matamdula ramba 565 princely states in the post taroga loida thayeb. Aduga Manipur dasu haribo format ase post gi lai aduga haribo format ase Manipuri matamdugi Maharaja Bodha Chandrana melaga Delhi da chithi ona thagi haibase matam aduda uhoba hujuji hingleba mioi singna ekoida oral oina tambibada ekoi thengna jai aduna miraski wahang du paukumdi am straight ni it was a format circulated to all the princely states and many of the princely states actually filled up the form and submitted. But the point is, 14 August 1947, such a format, such a relationship was to become an end because according to the instrument in Indian Independence Act 1947, हाइरिबा इंडिपेंडेंस एक्ट चटना होबो निमितगी हाना लेरंबा एग्रीमेंट अमत चटना रोय हाइग्रबनिना ऑटोमेटिकली स्टैंड स्टिल एग्रीमेंट गा इंस्ट्रूमेंट एक्सेशन गा दो चटना द्रे हाइना अखोने लोबे वानी
ओके यम नुंगाइजे सर अखोय यम इंटरेस्टिंग ओइबा पार्ट नै अदुगा अखोयना जो हाना खंगजदबा हाइतारे बट क्वेश्चन अमदि अदुम लेबा हाइबा मतंग से स्टेंसिल एग्रीमेंट अमदि इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ एक्सेशन से करम हाइना साइन तौखिबनो हाइबगे मतंग से अदुगा सर मसिकी मखा तारक कांदा 1947 गी 14 अगस्त ला कांदा मणिपुर निंगतमे हाइबगी वाफम मम मयामदा यम कन्ना ngangnaba di leire aduga 14 अगस्त निंगतमे हाइबसी मयाम पुनम यानारा कांदा मणिपुर की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन the idea of having a constitution of Manipur सिगी मणिपुर की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमा लेगदोबनी गा हाइबगी आइडिया अमा लाइबसे मसे अखोगी कदाइदगी लापा आइडिया ने हेदर सर खनबी
मसिगी आइडिया से मणिपुर से एशियाटिक किंगडम अमा ओइना लेरमी हाइबसिनी अदुगा आइने स्कॉलर अमा खग हेक सिजनै स्कॉलर अदु ममिंग थोंगचाई विनिचाकुल कोबा थाई हिस्टोरियन अम लई थाईलैंड की हिस्टोरियन ना हाइबदी नेशन अमा सेम्बा से मैप यकपा होरपदगी ट्रीटी सेम्बा होरपदगी नेशन अमा सेमी हाय अदुगा बेनेडिक्ट एंडरसन दा येंगुरबदी नेशन अमा सेम्बा न्यूज़पेपर थोलोपदगी सेम्बनी हाय माना प्रिंट कैपिटल हाय अदु आइना
yes yeah
मणिपुर की कॉन्टेक्स्ट ता थाईलैंड की स्कॉलर टोंगचाई विनिचाकुल की कॉन्सेप्ट असी हम चाने है खाली आइगा ई बदसो होजुजी अनोबद यावी मणिपुर की आइडिया ऑफ पॉलिटिकल एंटिटी अमा सेमकपकी कांगलोन से मैप यकपा होरकपा अदुगा ट्रीटी सेम्बा होरकपा बाउंड्री सेम्बा होरकपदगी मणिपुर दा ट्रिब्यूटरी सिस्टम हाइबदि टैक्सेशन हाइबतारे निंगथौदा लोइपोट का हाइबतारे कॉलोनियल सेंस दा somewhere the other adugi taxation gi model adu tauna miyam amasung tamamasung ching ani gi marakta encounter je hawrappadagi miyam gi relationship su hena lekhalai haina lawje haizening bade adugumba asiatic kingdom state ki genealogy ama lineage ama leiba manipur da british na loilam chanbasi thadok lagani haiba matamda princely states khudimakta leiba responsible government demand tobagi kanglon adu manipur su laiki adubu manipur da responsible government demand toba se maiki ani degi lai amana matam dugi indian national congress hauji congress ki sarwa moikiba aduga hizam era bot ki maiki degi sulaki
okay sir sida yam interesting over part ama lere dei no ningbaze sagi lere ta yam phajana palle ngasagi sir sida parallel movement haigadra movement congress ki movement amane communist ki movement amane movement ani leibase movement ani maksi sir movement for democracy ni haidana logodra
okay adugi wahang ado movement for democracy ni haina lobadi thodona kairoi karigino haiba matamda aina oral history oina thengna jabada aina interview tawbu matamda matam aduda kong borom degi mic palaga jeep ta tawraga lai hai aikhoi gi manipur gi ningthau pham thado miyam ge lengak lehlu aina matam du congress na influence to kambu khar lai hai makhoi ne matam du da makhoi upakhurum haidana khongup singdu langa i hai konunglomda madre da oral history da khona thengna jabada paudam birakpada ningthau da bo pandana ningthau adu yamna khoi matam du ningthau shoki haiba wapam bo thengnei maduda ningthau aina mi tawbat bo ina khanbada matam du lai miyam ga haktheng nan mukna banate miyam na masagi lengak lehengak pa electoral democracy thamngak pa ningthau na titular head natrana ningthau gi sasan lohengak pa gi ithilado congress da su laiki aduga matam adugi hezamira bot ki ihau da su laiki haina thamjani
okay sir masi democracy ki movement na tausi habagi wafam ji hanjin congress na yam kana move to bagi matang se sage like ta piriva sida document mayam sida su pali sana masi ga wafam je dum palli ada congress na maning tamba manipuri miyam na marom dum lep chaba ngamba democratic over nation na magi idea sida yadraga indian state ama 1946 still indian
thought na hai Cambridge school jo hai bije koi aduga masigi miyeng sinataba Indian nationalists sing nadi India was always a nation and it is going to be a nation or it is a nation in the making hai adubu ai khoina ai gi like tas mapam da panbani VP Menana India was never a unified country hainana like this yaubani Haizening badi matamdugi nationalist ki extension ado Manipur gi nauna ming lari laishu hairaiba adum elite class aduda middle class ro yorakhiba iroinana makhoina karigumba Manipur asi Bharat tillabadi makhoi gi political shares e khare hena phangani haina khanba force ama laiki tawbatabu Manipur gi ahan ba 1948 ki elections da hairiba party ase majority party oipangam khide Machine Takpadi Indian National Congress ado most popular political party oikide haibasini adumaina thamjaraga maduregi inference lobiraga mayam the conclusion draw to biwana haisi
okay sir yam interesting oi sigi part sida saduga muka matang sida naina lingak paje congress ki matang da congress the desperation ama congress party matam dugi congress party da india da tingado buni have ki desperation ama khoi da leibase masi ngasagi political movement political development in Manipur 1891 to 1949 gi Professor Sestini iba like sida Congress na India gi Indian National Congress iba chithi me ama masak pan bazida sagi sida sudum reflect ore makoi the desperation ama leibaje the whole idea say India na tawning ba taw yare India gi manung da bu merge tawraga di haibra na tragana Manipur gi democratic status ama phangani haiba gi expectation ama makoi da leibra adu gi leiba gi mamita bra sir
masi maru ba point ti ahan badadi moi political shares e makoi na hena phangani merger torobati haibasima
okay
ani shuba point da aina ngasai wangang zabadi oba liberal democratic spirit amada modern liberal democratic school of thought amada train torpa adu mamioi sing oiba makoi sing adugi matamdu dani Manipur da lariba miya mase Arjun gi macha sing nin lai iramis
okay okay sir sir gi da yaw like sigi sarukta akigi Major General Rawal Singh Manipur State ke Diwan oiramba sina magi Manipur State ki note sida sir masi zip pawa matam dai khone yam interesting oiba part che matam dugi minister taruk leibasi chief minister yorga punna minister taruk leibasi gi manungda taruk taret haitare si leibasi gi manungda whole ministers mayam sigi qualities aduga Manipur gi administration sigi instrumental or ji kana no ga haibagi matang ama aikona modern Manipur gi development ama lakpase modern Manipur gi ahuba ama lakpa matamda architect oina modern Manipur se semakpada khwaidi ki chawbo thodang lawibasi miyoi ani ni hadan sa identify tawe Captain MK Priyobata amasung Major Bok Kating amana hill minister oiba makhoi ani sina Manipur gi constitution ji ibada su instrumental oi hai administration da su instrumental oi hai adu moi gi experience da makhoi gi capability da yamna phajana ikai khumna bagi mamitai aduga atopa minister sing sidi inefficient oiba incapable oiba incompetent oiba ni haibagi mawong da thamesa aduga the whole idea of having a constitution aduga constitution ama semakpa aduga democratic setup ama haitare democratic kayam yamna democratic oiriba no habitu question oiraga jo democratic ama setup ama semakpa matamda ngasagi royal family digi oiraga jo majority community digi oiraga so ngasagi tangkhul gi luching tangkhul macha hai tare Manipur gi luching ba Major Bok Kating gi achaw role ama yaw base masida modern Manipur semakpa sida tangkhul macha amagi achaw role ama yaw kanda chingi mi amagi achaw role ama yaw kanda semakpa modern Manipur da how's idea of Manipur sida eliminate to we haiga do ribra denial to we haiga do ribra masigi idea of Manipur si negate to narrative mayam ama thogla ibase maru in chingi saruk tagi sa si kadai wai dano mangri base sini sa
wahang se yamna deep oe aduga ayaki aiba maktadi kano se sigi wafam se yam ka hena nei nabadi oidi adubo ai khoina atopa discussion sing dai jaba Manipur da chingmi amasung tami anigi lairiba khalla si kairak pasi 1949 ni matung dani hane lawjani kariguma mayam da Professor Lal Denagi aiba yengbirabadi Lal Denana ibada yawbani ai like da su quote tawbani page number doi khangsadre kawre Professor Lal Denana iba matam da British na makoi British na chingi administration ase makoi khutta thamkiba ado British na chingmi singbu chaukhal hanaba natte. It was absolutely about having worse form of taxation hana yaubani ko. It was not about developing the hill tribes. It was to exploit them. Masi lal denagi larik ta yaubani quotation tora yaubani na. Haizening badi Manipur ki ethnic diversity ki wakhalon asi hengalak pasi 49 amasung statehood ki matung dani haina ikhoi lawjai. Kari kuino haiba matamda Manipur ki constitution 1947 iba matamsi matamadugi governor na report piba matamda election to the Constituent Assembly of Manipur was held in a wide scale haina hai. Yamna paksan na chingmi tami Mete pangal furup sing yauna kanana constitution igedabne se mikhal tawki haizening badi ahan ba speaker ado koigi cookie chin group ki chinau sing ni ahan ba education minister Bob Khating ni asum tawduna Alimuddin su yauri bani asum tawduna Manipur da apunba Manipur amagi wakhalon ado aiba constitution ado da mami tai loine ne hizam ira board na madudagi hendoktuna Chingmi singi participation as a constituent assembly dam helam gadabani high basi mahang underground taram dari am kan lawam kholo mani haizari.
Okay sir, matang sida another yam interesting oiba idea am puthok pere sana ko hizami rabot ki rules sir Manipur ki ihan han ba assembly National Assembly haidana koina lawba yai masida ihan han bagi assembly phamba numit 18 October sida 1948 ki numit sida hizam irabot na miro takra matung de irekpa chithi se sir haiba chithi sida mana elected assembly ma leira kanda chief minister ma leira kanda madugi mathakta maharaja ma leira kanda constitution leira kanda lakpa government ma colonial pass amagi matung da haiba government aduga haiba government asi democratic oidi haibagi matang oiba wale haibagi matang da irekpa se sir amasi sa kamai yingi sir
Hizami rabona karigumba matamdur lariba lenga adu mahakna pamba lenga adu oram labadi mahak karidong adu so underground oina adu mak em loena khanjai.
Yes.
Mahaki communist churning ado mahaki thamoi da wakhal da thabak ta mami taki aduga mahakna ahan ba Manipur ki pham kiba assembly ki mi pham adu da mahak masa elected oina leram bani adu unlawful oirena declare tawki badagi mahaki sit adu hang ki bani haizening badi mahaki ahan ba mi pham da tharak kiba adugum laba chithi adu da pan khibase hena democratic oiba khunai lon ama da koi changsiningi amasung Manipur da corrupt oida balengak lon ama thamsi haiba do mahaki achoba kholauni hainai thamsigi.
Okay sir, yam nungai je sir aduga nakal mom da sir na ibiriba lyric si maruina general singi moigi mainstream narratives mayam ama intrigationist mayam gi moigi narrative of Manipur si India da kamaina merge to gi habigi matang da makhoina pukhala iba points mayam adu da counter narrative ama piba like amoina ni sar tori basi mapanga yam kanba lyric ni adu yam hen nungai ri badi high lyric asi gi irakna bagi whole foundations asigi evidence mayam ama sana khongat liba mayam city mainstream gi oiba archival document ngakte ne ba sir ko sir swaida asagi aiga mukna gador mi du dagi khutlai lawge phibam ama sa aduga chummadi sara du chumba gi phibam ho oinu ba sar kai habininge
aina sa haise ki ba archive te puthorokpa document khudima ari ba document hena scholars in pai ba document khudima je lo ni chummi haina dia khoi lawgi gumsi adu chummi haina law si karam matam phawa adu chumdi haina document tholotri phaw sima aina khanjabada ai khoina ning tamlami ai khoina constitution lerami haina haijabagi matak asida India home minister na khoi ju constitution lejarami harapasi ne hena yam significant oi boba pham siawi aduna maram ora kanda ai khoina Manipur gi narratives mayama mai top saktam ama leijai na khoina hairak pa siga iroina na matam aduda bharat ki lengak pa singna inaramba warol singda makhoi gi oba top wafam kya lerami lengak sing lejarami haiba documents sing ji pothok labadi hena akoi political discourse sida hena machang oiba enriching oiba factors tholakani amasung convincing oiba global community na su officially bawada masi yakiba leirabanina hana su adugi basis oiba ba document kya leirabanina haiba argument si lakpa yana bi namata ikona archive si hauzu ki oina yamna chawba argument si foundation ni hana lozo bai wanida That's what I want to say.
Okay, sir. Yam no ajay. Sir, hojik sik lay riba sir nang sir heavy gre. 1949 gi India na Manipur take over to kibagi event si Luidri. Hojik sik relevant oiri hai dana sir yam kana heavy. Heavy basi ga mari le na hojik sik relevant oiri ba maro iba political movement khara ikhune sum ujabada ningtam bagi movement. Sovereignty ki movement lady unlawful ne haribo organization mayam asigi maiki degi. Then pre-merger political status haidana ngasai ki 1949 gi mamang da leramba Manipur gi political status aduda amu hanjan bagi wafam lady greater autonomy gi demand lady sir.
I wafam amani dang sida haizege
Yes, sir.
akhoi gi miraj na haibi ro political format sing si loi lere akhoi gi da.
Hi sir.
Adu ai na ngasai haurak pada haizaba podium de lepa ina haizaba writing iriba akhoi gi thaudang ase social process amagi sarukni.
Okay.
Aina naitom phamlaga iba saireng naitom phamlaga iba wareng ado khunai machat ki saktam adum tai mami tai adugumna aikona 49 iriba se khunai sita 49 ge mami targa ngasi su lehawi haiba wakhalon aduna maram orga khuna 49 ase ibani aduna takpadi puari gi tangkak sing ase coffin da hablaba asiba phumjin khidro patlaba haksang amani haina lobagi mahutta haksang adru yawram ba khalon sing adu hingli haina lobugum 1949 watho ase ngasi su maikai ke ade pukhalai haibasini aina mafam amda haizaba puari ase haukhra wari oirabasu ngasi ki mirolna puari dagi para kya tambana puari gi tangkak sing ase kaungam daba thodok singti ngasi su dum hingi haitare aduna unlawful of activity ni haidana tawri ena haibiraba lalolup sing na ning tamba tali aduga atopa maikei dagi civil society organization sing na pre-merger political status tali pre-merger political status si makhalani thon laibi ai amana British palingai matamda adugi mamang da leramba complete independent of a kingdom state ama natragana 1949 ye mamang da leramba instrument accession amsung standstill agreement na yumpham oiba subject ahum India da pithoga lemoba subject na Manipur go hoba adugu mamongi wan to pibasu ai adubu organization akakna baduna pibana khwaidai chumlagani aikhoina khanjaba dedi 1949 gi watho asina ningdon pomnari ba ningam da ba phaunari ba mihan mipun thoi ba khana chena ba thokli ba singa se loishin ba hai ba se political discourse amagi khuthang da loishin ge dabani aduna masigi political discourse political churning asibu namsin duna thamlabadi haukhra wari sing do ning sing duna leina ba macha oi hai ba se bharat lengana khanglabadi Manipur da tangdu leita ba film lakani hai bisni thamdani se.
Okay sir. India the Manipur ze India na take over to bagi matang hai base hagek palak pakanda yamna toina pannaba matang amadi Sardar Patel ki matamadugi Union Home Minister ki maki wahai don't you have a brigadier in Shillong hai base sa matang sida Manipur as a nation namoina masaki constitution lei jeraba India dagi hana elected assembly ama leiraba government ama leiraba chief minister maharaja leiraba aduga miyam ne elect over assembly ama leiraba adugumba leipak amada magi political development ama si stage amada to a nation namo in state amo ina with sovereignty leiraba leipak amada Indian state ki matamadugi Indian state ne yengba mi yengse makhoi ki perspective se ngasagi don't you have a brigadier in Shillong Manipur gi ngasagi force Manipur gi military strength du khaktang oina ubra Manipur ki political development Manipur ki political status Manipur ki political journey dudi India na matau karam na ukhiba jano
masigi wang sigi paukumdi mayam ne hena khangbire India is a union of state and article number 1 the yawi India is not a federation of states India is a union of state oibanina India se akhoi gi swim together sing together haisi aduna kaidawi har kanda federating unit sing sigi maning tamba se matam dugi nationalist sing na piba gi khudong chaba laikhide makhoi na pining ba wakhalon su laikhide mayam na dalit ki scholar of how bani father of the constitution ni hariba Dr. Ambedkar Rao si mak unitary centralizing state system ama India da laina ba yamkan honaramba misha amani haizabadi Manipur na ningkha tamlamba amasung tamlamdaba haiba se kayamu yamna maru oige hairabadi Bharat ki laingak na Manipur lawshilam daida Manipur se masagi maromdom lepchaba leibam ji khangi haizariba khangna September gi tangkun 1949 phawada Manipur lawshin daba yade haibje chithi iraga India matamdi Home Minister irak palay. Hygienic body at any cost, they cannot be an independent communist country in the borderland called the Northeast. Indo-Burma region guys. Adana aigi aibada hoji kanna ay adu pukhachari sida dikhara diyawi adubo ayamba aigi mathangi article khara amuji iwelore aduda de ina biography of borderland and ama isai biography of borderland haibadi borderland amagi magi physical biography ase karam haina frontierized okay khudamoina hairabada border da labor lam khuding makti securitization leram do biya adubo border da labor lam kharadi hena securitization tawe masigi biography se aina khanjabada ai gai bada puthok chaningi mayam na su mayam nei na balairi tension na hairabada miraj ki wahang adu Indian nationalist ne thodok khide haitare.
Okay, sir, matang sida sir sagil lyrics siga related oi de habdi yawe do sir sagil lyrics sida gi idea amak ting pick up tok jaraga hauski relevant oi ba area amak ting san nei ning baje ihis kana habiramba history is an unending dialogue between the past and present haida habi ba dumaina Manipur ki past ai khoina hangat na yeng ba kana 1949 phogi mamang da leramba Manipur ki political status adu da leramba Manipur ki social political reality si hangat yeng ba matamda Manipur gi ningtamba Manipur ma semna ba hotna ba matamda major bok kathing na yam instrumental oiba administration the constitution semba the independent Manipur ma semba the logiva role sarna sida India ki intelligence report yauriba communal haiba point ama pira kanda sida thammiba sida yauriba saruk sida Manipuri pangal singna India amasung Manipur aning tama Manipur amasung India manungda changba haiba ani sigi marakta karamba phirep laige haiba si nairakpa kanda pangal sing ki oinadi karigumba ningthongna ready oiraga de Praja Shanti Party habadi Manipur ningtamba laipa am oigadabani haidana ihau hoba Manipur ki nationalist party asida loyalty lai haiba wafam including Madam the Minister oikiba Sri Alimuddin at the age of 28 years mase Praja Shanti Party ki elected leader makakne nakalamom da cookie singi cookie ning thau sing sir cookie MLA mayam amana Manipur gi independent Manipuri ma support tawraga lakhiwa sigi whole idea of nationalism haitare masida maripak ningbagi oiba Manipur ningtama Manipur ma sen na bahot na bada community khudi makki role ma laikhibase but howzik kaidere iba sigi whole alienation haigadra denial haigadra sa ina sai panjabado masigi kaidere pa Manipuri haibasida the idea of Manipur haibasida aigi saru yaudabra kana tongan tonga kanglup sigda masigi counter narrative mayam umalakpase sa sigi se karamainu ubige sana
howziki hizamira board ki legacy am lay mayam khangbirang wani 1948 ki adwaida mahakna yamna chawba United Front 47-48 semami MDU da mi fam taraga madada yaudaba lup laitri haibata chingmi tamil oi yaure adana Manipur ki idea si matamduradi kan puthokna ba anoba Manipur ki idea si puthokna ba hona ba da chingmi tammi gi marakta thoidokna warona ba laitana anoba journey amadu changsin ba gi adu excitement do leram mi haitare ada hojikti sangkraba matam sida mukna ba gi ethnic army sengbalak ba gi journey da chahi kunthra manga ni phuji lakra matung da di positions in the hardened boundaries. The boundaries have become hardened, whereas in the 1947 and 48, the boundaries were rather softened. Aduma, adada aina haining base, howzek laiba ethnicization sigi Canada ba hairagadi ethnicization sina kadoga akoi masel ze energy ze transfer tawshin naraga energy ze neutralized or laireba. Adana I could discursive Manipuri society mo puthona bagi ethnicization sina banga maktaba haitare kodamoina hojiksi economic blockade tawre economic blockade to we do lairi economic blockade is the thoiba narratives in ena lu he singmi masen dasu hojik opinion man raktaba masi aseng wai manadra bra haina wang haningai di oiba adi counter blockade amuk tawrakpa masi puna masi level amo phau badai khoina puba chatpa ngamninge di phaya do mas out of hand or kan di communalism the chatkido adana adu ya ki bado ngasi di lai ado aina khanjabada di apunba Manipur gi idea se ngasi su churning di tauri ngasi su churning tauri khudamana greater Nagaland gi issue lapada Manipur gi territorial integrity da shokani haidana piba discourse lai madu kaiser asu kai shukai di 6 schedule piu hai basu lai Manipur gi integrity de ka heloi 6 schedule de piu hai basu lai ADC gi bill hojik watho oiri haizening badi masigi churning sing ase masigi ideas sing ase counter Manipuri haina lobogi mahota Manipur bu revisit tatna tohliba ideas ne lohani
okay
adu oirabadi apun ba Manipur ma sagat pagi adugi tolerance adu leibam thoi
yes
adana aina isam siksam da thamning badi Manipur da thola liba matam matangi matungina education gi mangal phangba hengalakpa ethnicity gi consciousness hengalakpa se soidana mak Manipur da moment ama lakani maramdi aikoi masen counterproductive oina leiba tarabadi mamang da sangsin mangam da was posa ama lakli na khangbo mikuba da Manipur da leiriba ethnic group singse kadai da no reconcile torokani haiba jai ge thaja balai
okay
adu ge reconciliation du gi mikuba du ngai na bagi damakta Manipur da leiriba maruina khundariba community singna tolerant oiba political praxis amada changsin batai aduga Manipur ba balkanize tobade kalhobo mathau tai hena
okay sir yam sorry sir ya hangjening bo hangdi mayam am leire adu sir matam di leite aduna mayam da floor je open tawdring sir I'll just pick two questions sir gi whole theoretical arguments generalist ki denial amasung repression of historical moments India amasung Manipur gi historical interactions ni sir aduga Manipur gi within Manipur da sir gi arguments da aina pusinjani pase Manipur gi dominant community sing sigina maruina puriba mainstream history jinadi apik pa community mayam sigi dominant community sigi magi glory ama past ama nainarpa matamda apik pa community mayam sigi historical repression si lei habiga argument mayam amadi lei sir matang sidai kari habini
kudamoina masigi wafam side adum yazai aduna ninga sahijiba ai khoina snowballing hena concept ma leibel sizina bai majority and minority ki binary se hekta yamna fix oi banati hajariba majority and minority habi ki binary se hekta putho thamba ya de hariba majority and minority ki binary du ki manung da su mu binary kaya marum leba aduna ni akoi ki left ki ideas singsina communism ki ideas singsina si ki binaries yam line resolve tawrise khoda moina paisa pai ba musung pai da ba ani na khaidok rakanda khunai du da masak tak pa jam lahe leba adubu maitai amusung maitai pangal ani mukna re na miku magi law rasing hak tangi ona adubu pangal gi marak tasu mu khal kayam rum lei hariba
exactly
adugumna chingmi singna tam dagi paisa thada da bana ching chakotre haina kanna lawramba narrative ase handa government white paper ma puthorapda 47 to 48% of the state's annual budget has been going to the hills harakanda hariba debate mu long mu tabagi mo mala ayusik adudi classic question ase somebody from the hills is consuming the energy and the resources which is meant for the tribals. Sigi debate si uzik thola aneba. Nobody can repress it. Adum haina majoritarian oiba Indian nationalist singna namtek taubat tarabadi 49 kaubang ngamdabagum Manipur leriba khundariba majority community na khundariba community macha singa sibu namsil labadi madu ki su repercussions lebam thokpani na madu khangna punna himina bagi fireb lobu chupmi sini.
Okay, beautiful. Aigi aropa question si hangjaro ge mayam dagi hairo question si laga de hena nungai gani laktraga na aero win hangjara now the floor is open to the audience. Audience na question any volunteer Manipur University student yunengi make dagi kana gumba matane help to bigani mic amatang pai bira kanda audience ta kai gumba hangbining bale ga de over the books haiba like the 1949 the story of India's takeover of Manipur. Sidai koi sir Dr. Rambam noni lengsel laga lebire sir de any hangbining bo hangama hangbai khutong chaba lobio ekoi musugi volunteer makak na mic amakak khusina bigani okay si mic sure pai video yare okay yes
muji yad shet battery
Sir, I giming Sintha, I looked again. In a Hanjaning, sir, and say, Panbigi, Badadi, Kitang the Yaw in a Kanjakoi, 1948 Manipur Constitution, Exia Mechanical, Lenga, and Malaysia, Mazisa. Mazikoi, 1949, the Indian and the मार्च तौखरो मतुंगदा हौजिक लेंगाक से कोई लेडी है खनगद्रा लेट्रे खनगद्रा मसी करम मोंग तौबु याबे कइगुम लेडी है लोप तारगे देखो हौजिक करी स्टे लोप याबगे हेबदुम तंग सादगी मेक सेन खंगजनी थैंक यू
Sintha Laishram ki wang asi yamna hard hitting oi ba wang amani ngasai na haiziki ba 29 September 1949 da Manipur ge matamdu gi assembly na merger agreement se khoi yaning de khoi yawangam loi na resolution am lauki ba madugi basis da yenglaba matung da Manipur gi legislative assembly matamdu leiramba aduna merger gi agreement se ratify tawgiteba unlike Jammu and Kashmir Jammu and Kashmir dadi merger agreement sahi tawna ki deba karigino haita di makhodi instrument of accession do Indian independence ek lab matung da sahi tawna ki ba adu abadi Indian independence act to apply tawdreba adana merger agreement adu Manipur dari ratify tawgide adubu Jammu and Kashmir ki instrument accession dudi 1953 da makhoi ki matam dudi assembly ratify tawrame aduna takpadi Manipur India Kashmir ki case tadi instrument accession si chatna raga lehore Manipur ki case tadi merger agreement si chatna dana lehore aduga Manipur ki matam dugi assembly to dissolve tawkide aduna theoretically it was not dissolved. That's a question.
Sarayna hena khangjaning si sa dissolve tawdrabanina hauji adi khoi na hingyana lau taraga di khoi kedomoda gisin
adugi akumdu aingona pihan birano madu ai wakaldadi adudi miyam gi level da chatkedo scholar amana si tawgodabnina prescribe tawgodabna tawmali adana ai gi pointi it was not dissolved constitutionally and therefore it has a meaning.
Azayam Nungaizera. Thank you for the wonderful talk. I had Ngamtin Lun Tau Thangkawi, Political Science Department, the research Tau Zabani, Adugatamang Long College su Political Science ta in Haitian. I give question si Ngahan Ngasai Kanona Kogi host na Panbi Kiba Cookie Chief Singer Manipur maning tamba amagi damak ta support tawki habagi point amaduda kanwa tawrakanda base tawrakanda adugi matungda so azana paukhum amada khagi ahanba democratically elected assembly da so minister si kukichin community dagi so adum yawe haijeriba adubu sum la akanda recent trend da economic tadi oidaba khagi public ta haigadra social media da haigadra otherizing haiba pot ama kanot sum tawrak pa haitar moidi sumai tawani indigenous oye oide habagi pot lak pasi academically sana kamai yang bi ge
modern akhoi helon tawsang question is a yamna significant over question ni masi khoi tinbiriba myam khuding marasu yumda puraga chatpa yaba wahang ni aduga ikhoina masi wahang si paukom sintha hoi myam su khanab yai icham samna Manipur si nation amani haidana hekta panglaw lawbana nation hekta oibusu nati nation adu da yawga doriba mioi sing adugi yana bagi makha pole aduna bu Ernest Renan na nation is a daily plebiscite hai Helun na piba opinion, ayang na piba opinion, XYZ na piba opinion ze. Nukti ki piriba, nukti ki tokro hauzik piriba opinion ze. It makes and unmakes a nation. That's the reason why Renan says nation is a daily and every moment plebiscite. Hauzik miras na hai yawning dre no lebak to dai upai kem naiti. Now therefore, mahang na yawning dre hairak tanabagi lambi sinbado nangi idea of nation dre yawri ba makai ma yawni adu yawdro kana to ke harakane. Therefore, Heluna Hariba Wapamase was the ILP cut off year ama thambai matang yam chauna thoiba opam amani sisi purasu mi kaya amasu laigitre hausi same question to the niko haining badi adubu modern state lakhi badi masagi Thai historian Winnie Chakul Tongchai na haibadu maina mapping boundary construction is integral to the making of modern state haibadu gumna Manipur dasu modern state ki mapping ase lakhi baga iroina imaginary and practical boundary ma lakhi be matuina population ki movement the resistance malaya. Let's look at theoretically. Population se all the time movement over yarakta bahita hai. Population se all the time movement over yarakta maramdi the one of the very important elements of modern state is boundary. But adugi boundary do koina khara thugari se karam matamda no haina cultural ground. I usi Myanmar ke Meitei Singh Bangladesh se Meitei Singh laga cultural exchange tausi cookie sing la tausi de dum yani ba. But transplanting population from one place to another has become a big debate, and modern state is not encouraging that. Therefore, the question of non-indigenous and indigenous has come to the fore, and the complexity of the debate is such that when we talk about a dateline 1951, 1971 or 2021, it depends on how people arrive at a conclusion. ILP ki dateline asi kanagumana 1951 the oisi hairi kanagumana 71 the already 72 the already yani hairi kanagumana 2021 oisi harakpusu yaina. It is possible. Adubu ai oinadi scholarly yengzo ba matamda laiminari ba phurupsa sing asigi marakda amana amabu threat ni haina lobagi danger oiba argumentation aduma kharang section hani ani shuba matamda laiminari ba aikoi masenji amana amada threat oibra haibase helon aikoi khangbam sangi are Meitei is a threat to the cookies, are cookies threat to the others? The right answer will only come when you could identify an answer. Who are the real threats? That's a simple answer I want to give. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. I am Bosco Kowi. I belong to one of the smallest tribe of Manipur, Khoram tribe. I handakta kaino tok javani PhD loi javani kaino the sociology department MU. My question is merger gi Manipur se India da merged or kanda akoina ngasi phawon nainarak pasida ningthau gagi aduga valley gagi saruk tang nainaba dauna ayamba tawi ado chingi response na matamdu da kamai toge lairagdi sarna khara share tawbiragdi yam nungai jagani. Thank you.
I kwege Bosco question asi question sing jain kambada ngasi di amna meaningful way. Icham sam na panga hangna badong tawde. It's not I am not important here, okay? I is kai maru oite sai da mirasu maru oite ibani kai maru oite maru ori basi kai no the idea khara cheli sai da idea sing se question si den tholei question do phajaba yamna hangbira bani na wahang sing du phajaba khumba mathau tai 700 square feet ki wahang amalai ko 700 kilometer square feet ki wari masulai uji kanna Facebook ta thokpa adugi narrative to zo uji debate taunari merger agreement the square mile to pandabani. It was taken for granted that Manipur consists of this, excluding Cabo Valley perhaps. Cabo Valley was on lease and given to Myanmar government later on by Nehru. Haizening badi Tiangkham se Manipur merger taure hana taw ma Tiangkham se kolom si Tiangkham se kuki ko Tiangkham se kolom si table the thila thudi hai. Oral history that's my pang. Tiangkham was the first speaker of that assembly, and it was under his presidentship the third session of the house was convened, and it was in this third session of the house, that is 1949 September 29, the resolution was taken that we do not agree with the merger agreement. Aduna matamdugi kuki kanana yagi de haibase, for me Tiangkham is one good reference. And at the same time, Manipur United Front haina semba irabona semba jida Kuki National Army was very important party. Kuki National Assembly, KNA, was a very important partner in that. So with these ideas in my mind, I think we had more or less a better idea of Manipur at that time than we have today, it seems like. Because it seems like we have gone a different way today. But ultimately, I think fighting against each other is never an answer. We need to come together and sit down and at least arrive on certain political future. That's all what I want to say.
Okay, any more questions?
Ozai giving inauba. I nangza gadol wangse. 1951 da irabol laikidra matungda Communist Party gi Manipur Communist Party gi ba yau sida nemthakram matungda 1964 da dagi hauraga itare Manipur da nationalism gi oiba patriotism gi oiba maruina 1949 gi oiba annexation asida yaningda ba oiba tongan irabon leiramba communist ki oiba movement du nataba tongan nationalism gi oiba iho ma lakhra matungda ado sigi mari se sahi tara hum doijida mari je communist Manipur communist movement dagi nationalism gi iho sida oina chong hakhiba ado chong khiba adu gi matung ta ba singda leiraba nationalism gi iho lakhiba sagi lakhiba sina ngasi akhoi gi tongan ba hai tare contradiction mayam ma singi ngasai pankhiba mayam singi tampaki leibasi hena thokalang bagi masa ko ibra do masise hari sigi oiba communism dagi nationalism gi oiba idea ma song khibje kari na maru ere khib kari karamba poina maru ena song khibano aduga masigi nationalism gi housina ngasigi leiriba hojik oriba reality ji da kari effect over haibado jana kharpa bire dinu haine
Inau bagi wahang asigi paukum aina macet amang asai haizikiba left ki ideas sings na maike communist ki ideas na mamai chumaga leiba iho sing dadi binary gi mamizi amna clear oina leiba ina khun ba laira ba hairsi adu nationalism gi politics ta changsan kharba matung dadi identity da on khiba aduna identity je bamon gi identity meitei pangali identity adi sagai gi identity salai gi identity am tholeba aduna karigum matamda nationalism ki ideas singsina aseng ba contradiction ki ground se mangan bas yaw adu ki same problem ase hauzik Manipur da leiba kanglup khudimana nationalist oiba mieng amada makoi gi identity phurup singse pukhalakpa sidagi phurup singsigi marakta leinaga da communication su mang pane ai maming di palaroi loop khara harasi hoji khwai maming chaliba peace talk ka tawriba organization singsina maming dadi socialist haina thonba organization da thabak dadi socialism gi mami ta dabana ayam boiba karigino haiba taragadi hariba makoi gi khunai sing adu da leiriba diversity haibadi laire ba musu ina khunba ni gi marakta leiriba gi khalladu gi awaba dudi makoi namsin duna thammi identity na khummaga puyi identity na khummaga puriba makai asengba pakhum ji tholak tab haitare aduna identitarian politics pu oiro nationalist ki politics pu oiro masidai sida danger obi element yamna yawi have sai thamjani tension na hajara bada ina wagi wahang ase yamna significant obi wahang amani of course communism gi hijab ira bot ki iho asi 1939 ado adigi yam kan nupila andagi europe podagi 1951 52 aswai phausi di Manipur da ma gi oiba politics na ayamba majority oina mapung oina chalaga ma he lai khidabadai di vacuum ama tholok pa haitare. What parameter of movement should we now have? I think Manipur took about 10 years, 11 years. Then all of a sudden we found nationalism is a very good institution, very good instrument to wage our rights. Adu kata haiziki.
mayam interaction to bagi room mama khak phangre hai tare aduga yam beautiful questions mayam ama aduga differ oiba ideas mayam ama carry to wa aduga ikhogi social amadi political reality sigi machak sing yamna mamutta na yawba madu reflect over question mayam ama hangbi dana ha ikhogi mami tv de miyang ta biriba hai tare virtual oina yang biriba mayam tu thodu hindu nungai ba matang amadi oibirong gani haidana thaje sir aroi boina sa hang janing ba sir gi lyrics de yam kan yawriba Northeast identity se sida Northeast as a homogeneous identity amu oina India gi oiba perspective to gi yeng bagi mami guri Indian state ki make ki same iba policies programs ma sida ya phajana reflect ore sir nakalabor the counter narrative oina Western Southeast Asia gi idea ma khak sagal ibase ani sigi versus sir karam haina feature se uge sir
sige wang sina aroi bo eram godo male ado wang sige paukum ase aigi PhD ki research ki topic ase the idea of Northeast and kawi idea of Northeast ase aina za haizaba externally semak paneba yan han bada Pemberton noina puthorapani 1830 ado aida adui matungda Alexander Mackenzie na magi ai bada 1860 do sinarapani masigi idea se tholokhi badagi di kaidorge kanda notice ko bama leibra haibagi chingna ba se notice the leiba khunda ba sing su khan ba hore adere kaidorge kanda rims ke thodo ma igi like ta pan bani rims ki gate ta akoina school tamingai matam da rims ta lalhobagi irang kalingai matam aduda 90s da irang mak thogi rims ki gate ta madai da Madugi Matamdugi committee ama linki government na committee du report yawbani aigi lari ki last chapter yawbani so maina hai Manipur da matamadugi rimsi gate ki thodo ase amutang miya puning chingchelengi maya war suwana simtanga tabiyo rimsi gate asida conflict akhoi unlawful organization kharana hand grenade kum langamba mali adu ikhang khaudana madura taba CRPF ki personnel singho pakhatana मखोइना हमारा आदमी को मारा सब मणिपुरी को मारो इन लाओ मधु आइगी लाइक्स दी याव बस इन हाइजन बनते मतमदुगी कमिटी ना हायरंबा रिपोर्ट आई लौथोक सरपनी अदोइनो लाइव पोती मतमदुदा मणिपुरी मानदब सिंग लोइ खंदोए मोइना मणिपुरी मानदब हाइजबनी को मणिपुरी मानदब से लोइ खंदो मोइना मी मापन खक मतमदु सी बसिदा सीब लोरगा मसिंग थिना बसिदा कदाय देनो मान बसिंग सेना थिरुब मतमसिदा अरुणाचल प्रदेश की छात्रम यावरमे हाइबदी अरुणाचल प्रदेश की छात्र मणिपुरी मालंबय वानिदा अदना मणिपुरी दी ओरगा मणिपुरी मानदगा दी नुमितु हिंगबय मोंगनी हाइजनिंगबदी आइडिया ऑफ नॉर्थ ईस्ट अदुमना सेमलखरेस Northeast is homogeneous oide kuki mitai manade pangan mitai manade akoi masen mungna dana tawi adu Bangalore di chela kandri train do pulap chela ini adu ai di manada wa kuki mitai amta laigitre kuki nagas amta laitre the point is there is an idea already even though you say that Northeast is not homogeneous there is already an internalization of idea I like this so ama ibani internal solidarity external oina pirakhiba term di oba jangli ni na ado akoi maje nimu jangli ni sum haibi badagi as moina koi jangli haramni na bai pulas yena pulak pagi adu gumbai culture amada koi sang lakhi ba hai tare aduna maram oraga Charlie Tango oina film am lai badu yawi du ni ahan basinda madu akoi matam de Delhi de protest tawi cinema kap kan odu ba Manipur da leiba mizo gi laloba sing en horpani Manipur da leiba maizo militant hai moina mizo zo haide maizo aduga moi laloba sing ji am sathi grab jani yekna bagi mana ka aga moi girlfriend da lei pare moina pi hai ni yawbani lila ojiki cinema du dialogue ta the point is this is a complete externalization of an idea called Northeast but this idea has been registered and that has created an internal solidarity. That is the reason why I say even though we are homogeneous, we have a similarity.
Okay sir, thagachari loyana haibo hangasina roibo hangam oirakanda ngasi discussion loyana author talk haidana thamjari ba book fair is a important over significant over event namoina semjari ba Manipur University Student Union 2021 semjaba ikhogi ngasigi program asi losen bagi tanja lojige loina ngasigi program asi da yamna moru over daita lobi khiba 1949 the story of India's takeover of Manipur haiba laira sige iba Sir Dr. Arambam Noni, Assistant Professor Dhanamanjuri University Department of Political Science akhoi sarbungam khali tana thagachere masu kai khundu buchari loina haiba laira se Manipur University da laira Readers Bookstore haidana a bookstore with a difference haiba bookstore sida sukshu dana phangbigani ngasi digina matam khargi mamang da haiba laira se out of stock ni haidana laik se phangdre haiba gi mayam yamna kan wana bani adubo idam limited copy khara Readers Bookstore ta hojo zik phange dana mayamna karigumba pambi ragadi Mami TV gi YouTube Facebook amasung Mami TV television gi kuthang da yengbiriba miyamna pambi ragadi Manipur University da labor Readers Bookstore da rakpi duna haiba laira se lobi raba yagani loina ngasi gi thawam se da sarga bikiba Manipur University Mahiroi Singh amasung tonga tonga fraternity dagi lakpiri pang punamuk puso amuka hana Manipur University gi student union gi meke digi thagachari amse ga khumda uchari mayam thagachari
मैम प्रोग्राम नुआगी नत्रो अकोय हायंगी प्रोग्राम तक लौथोक्सगे ममी टीवी ना इनौ नौना ngasi manipur do wari ba phibam si yenglaga akoina intellectually intellect person sing ko khalaga akoina yam phajaba platform provide to hoga wari sanaraga akoi gi lamdam manipur si da thoiba condition se society oiro community gi problem oiro pula platform da discuss to hoga yamna intellectual oiba mawang da lariki mong do puthuoga akoina community sira harmonium program ba khona jabani sigi program sigi matung sigi idea sigi loinana hayeng se akoina ngasigi program sigi manana akoi ikai khumna da matik charaba Srimati Ningombam Sunita writer ni afau writer ni mayamna khongji makhol haiba larika ma haipe thengna biramani 1997 da madam sini ibiki bani khongji makhol haiba larik sida Mahatsu Sahitya Academy award ni sigi larik sida phanggi bani aduna sigi larik se akoi gi day to day life Manipur da thoiba atmosphere se siga mari leinana iba larik ni aduna discussion si yaw ta ga di akoina khamam da pot mayama hanging ba question kaya madam masamak da hangaga akoi discuss to ba yaw bi yagani aduna hayeng akoina madam gi discussion authors talk haiba same series da thamdori ba to ka sida ngasi social media gi site TV gi channel da screen gi mamang da yengbiri ba khwai pum namakpu saruk gabiyo ngasi saruk yari ba khwai pum namaksu hayeng su saruk gabiyo ana Mami TV gi site gi request tawjari amadi makhata na discuss to pada akoi gi notification isa da yawna ba Mami TV gi live channel amadi Facebook channel bu like to view notification da miss to gana ba ngasi participate to khiba khwai pum namakpu aro hoina Mami TV gi site gi yam thagachari amadi Manipur University students union bu su yamna phajaraba program ase simbagi damak platform ase provide to bigi damak yamna thagachari khwai pu namak hayeng su saruk yabiyo makha tarakpada Mami TV busu support obiyo like nambiyo makha tana intellectual program kaya da su saruk yamina se thank you so much
First, the headlines. Hill Areas Committee recommended Autonomous District Council ADC Bill 2021 not only unconstitutional but also unofficial document, asserts veteran politician Ojoy. Manipur tribal student bodies indefinite economic blockade underway. Now normal commercial vehicles movement disrupted. Hundreds of trucks stranded at Mao Gate. And BJYM Manipur Yuva bike rally taken out. BJP will get sweeping win in upcoming state general assembly elections, says BJYM National President Tejaswi Surya. Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the Mummy TV English News Bulletin. I'm Albina Riamai. Veteran politician Ojoy has said that Manipur Hill Areas Autonomous District Council Bill 2021 is unconstitutional and termed the document as unofficial. He said this during a press meet held at his residence today at Kakwa. Addressing the press meet, he said the government cannot simply pass the bill as it contains many sensitive issues. The government is violating the law by not announcing the unconstitutional bill as unofficial bill, he said. The government is deceiving the people by being a mere spectator of violation of law. Stating that the bill was introduced to create communal tension by outer force, he appealed to the people of Hill Areas Committee to consider the bill. Both the state and the center should try not to disrupt the peaceful coexistence of the different communities of the state, he maintained. The veteran politician also asserted that there is no opposition in forming law by introducing a bill for the welfare of the people of the hill areas following the provision of the constituency.
Assembly Secretariat, Higher Lady Secretariat ki recruitment, Karamaina Tabahapani, Mogi service condition, no any Asia, Article 187 Makada, Semba, rule Amagi Makana govern, Hill Area Committee, Madugi, Hill Area Committee Order 1972, High Quest, 10 Presidential Order, Order Asiki Settle Matters in the Marine and a Waffen Canana. Resolution lobong ambagi sakti lay aduna tanay area committee na bill lama semaga draft tawduna putokogi sakti amata layte.
Meanwhile, the indefinite economic blockade along national highways called by All Tribal Students Union Manipur Atsum has backed by other Hill Students Organization has disrupted normal commercial vehicle movements along the national highways of the state. Reportedly, hundreds of Imphal-bound goods-laden trucks and other commercial vehicles have been stranded at Mao Gate along National Highway number 2 with the commencement of the economic blockade. The blockade was enforced along Mao Imphal, Jiribam Imphal and More Imphal national highways in the state. Besides, around 18 vehicles carrying essential commodities have been stranded at Khongsang along National Highway number 37. However, passenger vehicles were allowed passage. Endorsing the economic blockade, Kuki Students Organization More block obstructed roads at Chikim village along Imphal More Road. It may be mentioned that the tribal students' bodies imposed the indefinite blockade after the demand to convene a special session of the Manipur State Legislative Assembly to table and discuss the Hill Areas Committee HAC recommended Autonomous District Council Bill 2021 was not fulfilled by the state government despite a 24-hour total shutdown imposed in Hill districts of the state on November 20th. With an objective to ensure BJP's victory in the upcoming State General Assembly elections and to strengthen Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha BJYM Manipur Pradesh, a political meeting was held at INA Memorial Hall, Moirang today. Later, BJYM Manipur Yuva rally was flagged off from the venue. MLA of Moirang Assembly Constituency P. Sarachandra, MLA of Oinam Assembly Constituency L. Radhakishore, ex-MLA of Moirang Assembly Constituency M. Prithviraj and BJP leaders accorded a warm welcome to BJYM National President and Lok Sabha MP Tejaswi Surya, BJYM National General Secretary and Lok Sabha MP Raju Bista, President of BJYM Manipur Pradesh M. Varish Sharma, among others, at the program organized by BJYM Moirang Mandal. The national BJYM leaders offered floral tribute to the statue of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose in INA Memorial Complex and also visited INA War Museum. Speaking on the occasion, BJYM National President Tejaswi Surya acknowledged the diverse culture and art forms of Manipur, expressing confidence that BJP will get sweeping win in the upcoming elections. He reiterated that banned, blockade and frequent demonstration of agitations by the public have reduced to a great deal ever since BJP came to power in the state. He also stated that law and order situation in the state has significantly improved in the state.
इम्फाल में बहुत अच्छे सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रम हम सब के लिए ऑर्गेनाइज किए थे। मणिपुर के नृत्य, मणिपुर के संगीत, साहित्य, ये सब देख के मन बहुत खुशी लगा। आई एम सो हैप्पी टू बी अमंग्स्ट ऑल ऑफ यू टुडे।
Later, BJYM Manipur Yuva Bike Rally, which will culminate at City Convention Centre, Imphal, was flagged off from Moirang, Chengai, Lampak. Major Konjang Bambizendra of 23 Assam Rifles Battalion from Manipur has been accorded the Shaurya Chakra for Gallantry and Distinguished Service Decoration 2020. President of India Ramnath Kovind presented the award to him yesterday during Defence Investiture Ceremony Phase 1 at Rashtrapati Bhavan, New Delhi. On March 22, 2019, Major Bizendra and his team received information about reported movement of proscribed armed militants in the forest area and challenged to surrender. A fire ensued from both sides, opened indiscriminate fire onto the spot. During the fire, the Major killed 2 militants. The award was presented to him for his courage and bravery, report said. A cleanliness campaign named Clean Up Campaign 2021 under the supervision of former Minister Moirang Them Hemanta kicked off today. The campaign will be conducted at Tentha and Myren Kul in Wangjing Tentha Assembly Constituency till December 31, 2021. Speaking on the sidelines, former Minister and Congress intending candidate of Wangjing Tentha constituency, who is gearing up to contest the upcoming General Assembly elections, Moirang Them Hemanta said the campaign was launched to make the surroundings of the constituency neat and clean. On the other hand, hitting out at BJP, the former minister maintained no force can subdue the voice of the farmers and the youths.
peaceful rally asida engo sipai myam lai kari bhab tano khangde social service tawjariba khutta thang pai batai adegi yopak pai tai mali sem sari da gari se kyam yam thar kar gi gari kun mari manga gi commando ge gari thajal leba akhoi kari wa khan noiba akhoi social service taw dam da aki ba kari gi phawli no ba natraga de akhoi handan garge akhoi to ge leri ba sarkar gi commando kangho sin akhoi gi leri phulak mayam gi song ni bi moina 생비가 도리바 아드나 거기다 누군가 거기다 뭐 아무 돌아가도 기현 걸으면 또 왜?
A public march with the message for a clean constituency was also taken out in the surrounding areas of Tentha and Myren Kul to mark the launching of the campaign. Chairman of Handicap Development Foundation Manipur, Sapam Jasobanta, has expressed concern over the low record of voters with disabilities in the state, stating that there are only 8,000 voters in the category enrolled in Manipur's electoral roll. He laid stressed on the need to find out the real figure of this section of the voter list. He said this during an awareness program on rights and importance of the participation of people with disabilities in upcoming elections held yesterday at Nungkau village in Tamenglong Tawang district. The program was organized by the Office of Chief Electoral Officer, HD Foundation, and State Platform of Disabled People's Organization, Manipur. He further said that since the introduction of Rights to Person with Disabilities Act 2016, 21 different disabilities have been recognized instead of 7 disabilities in the past. Zaso Banta expressed happiness that the act is beneficial for people with disabilities. Face masks, sanitizers, blankets and edible items were distributed to children of Destitute Children Home at Tera on the occasion of 89th birthday of former professor of Manipur University, Dr. M. Iboton. During the occasion, Dr. Iboton prayed for the well-being and success of the children at the home. Distribution program of cards for Ayushman Bharat, PMJAY and E-Shram level along with a booth level political campaign was organized yesterday at New Tusom village in Chingai Assembly constituency. The program was organized under the supervision of aspiring candidate of Chingai Assembly constituency in the upcoming general elections, MK Presho Shimre, and nominee for member of Rajya Sabha King Sanajauba Leshemba, and co-convener of medical cell of BJP Manipur Pradesh TH Sarachandra. PMJAY and E-Shram level cards were distributed to around 100 beneficiaries on the occasion. National People's Party NPP intending candidate of Kurai Assembly constituency in the upcoming state general assembly elections, Laitonjam Jayananda, has alleged the MLA of the constituency of misusing muscle power and of indulging in Gudaism. He maintained that Gudaism in politics is outdated and urged the MLA to serve the people as a responsible representative. Jayananda was speaking at the Ningol Chakauba Fest and a one-day political conference held at Ima Chingroy B. Sanglan at Kurai Konsam Lekai today. Addressing media persons, Jayananda further related that his workers last night set out to put up NPP's flag in different areas of the constituency as NPP National President Conrad K. Sangma was able to take part in today's event. Meanwhile, the MLA along with his workers came at Kurai Hekru Makong while NPP's workers were putting up the flags at the same locality and allegedly assaulted them. Alleging that action of the MLA is utterly undemocratic and irresponsible, Jayananda maintained that he will contest the upcoming elections in a democratic manner and ensure the conduct of the elections in a free and fair manner. He further urged the MLA to be responsible representative of the people instead of misusing muscle power and indulging in violence.
ngarang si aikoigi party ki central leaders sing lakadabnina visibility khara leina na haina phiran yungba khotba tawu matamda masida thoning daba thodok ma ngarang ahing midnight ama thokre masida honorable MLA masa lenga Kurai Hekru Makongda aigi leiba flag theliba phiran theliba worker jing ado mana masa yauna physically assault torpa amasung magi worker jingna madada sinaba gari thugaidana torpa haibasi yamna lebak macha tadaba pangdabagi thongni asoi baibasi aigi mina chorpusu yawgani magi mina chorpusu yawgani aduna miyamgi mihuda moina natraga daite leiba miyamgi mireba moina asoiba jingdo khoi miyam changna semtoknabagi mahutta mana sponsor torga mana lead torga hector Gundai da politics tongni na khanba wakhanje masi matam nga chanadraba adugumba politics amani
SWIFT Thoubal, Nehru Yuva Kendra Thoubal and NSS units of YK College jointly organized a one-day training program of youths on Clean Village, Green Village today at YK College Hall, Wangzing in Thoubal District. As part of Special Summary Revision SSR 2022 under SWIFT, District Election Officer and Deputy Commissioner of Thoubal A. Subas, IAS, distributed I Am Ready to Vote t-shirts to the participants. Deputy Commissioner of Thoubal A. Subas, IAS, Range Forest Officer of Kakching Range, Thoubal Forest Division, and Munal Meitei, District Youth Officer, Nodal Officer, Thoubal, Michael T. Mate, HOD of Mathematics of YK College, Professor K. Thoiba Singh, Department of Political Science of YK College, Professor E. Budhi Singh, and former Principal and HOD of Education Department YK College, Dr. S. Birahari Singh, attended the awareness program as presidium members and resource persons. In the first session of the training program, resource persons spoke on various topics, while in the second session, a block-level declamation contest on patriotism and nation building with the theme of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Biswas, Sabka Prayas was held. Now we have a short commercial break. Stay tuned for more updates.
LX Sublimation. Pauna Bazaar, Imphal, JMG Shopping Complex, first floor. Mafam asida mug printing, cover printing, t-shirt, keychain, photo frame, sublimation ki pot khuding mug wholesale da pangbigani. Items available are mug printing, cover printing, t-shirt, keychain, photo frame. All the mentioned items will be available at wholesale rate in LX Sublimation.
Welcome back. India has recorded 7,579 new COVID-19 cases with 236 deaths in the last 24 hours, 10.7% lower than yesterday. It brought the total caseload to 3.45 crore. With 236 deaths, the total reported death count increased to 4.66 lakh across the country. India's recovery rate now stood at 98.32%. A total of 12,202 patients have recovered in the last 24 hours, which brought the total recoveries to 3.39 crore across the country. Meanwhile, India's active caseload stood at 1.13 lakh and with a decline by 4,859. So far, India has administered a total of 71.92 lakh doses in the last 24 hours, which brings the total tally of doses administered to 117.63 crore. Uttar Pradesh is poised to become the only state in India to have 5 international airports, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of the Noida International Airport in Jiwar, Gautam Buddha Nagar, Uttar Pradesh on 25th November. The development of the airport is in line with the vision of the Prime Minister towards boosting connectivity and creating a future-ready aviation sector. A special focus of this grand vision has been on the state of Uttar Pradesh, that is witnessing the development of multiple new international airports, including the recently inaugurated Kushinagar Airport and the under-construction International Airport at Ayodhya. This airport will be the second international airport to come up in Delhi NCR. It will help decongest the IZI airport. The airport will be the logistics gateway of northern India. Due to its scale and capacity, the airport will be a game changer for UP. The University Grant Commission (UGC) has allowed universities to conduct up to 40% of the courses online using the Swayam website. This will help students to opt for massive open online courses. The National Education Policy (NEP) has suggested conducting online classes as it has a wider reach, expanding the access of the students from across anywhere and in the country and increasing the gross enrollment ratio (GER). As per the UGC, students can side-by-side attend the Swayam courses and their university studies at the same time. The score received on the Swayam website will be covered by certification and will be added to their degree program as well. Earlier, the credit limit was only 20% and now it has been raised to 40%, making the courses more accessible. Further, it has directed the colleges to make the necessary amendments within 4 weeks from the date of publication in the official gazette, so that there is an integration between the institutions and the courses offered through Swayam. Indian and Japanese officials are working on ways to release national reserves of crude oil in tandem with the United States and other major economies to dampen prices, 7 government sources with knowledge of the plans told Reuters. Such an announcement could come as early, according to a source familiar with the discussions, but White House and U.S. Energy Department officials said no official decision release had been made. U.S. President Joe Biden has asked China, India, South Korea and Japan for a coordinated oil stocks release as U.S. gasoline prices soar and his approval ratings slump ahead of next year's congressional elections. The U.S. government has been unable to persuade OPEC to pump more oil, with major producers arguing the world was not short of crude. Before we end the bulletin, let's look at the top news headlines once again. Hill Areas Committee recommended Autonomous District Council ADC Bill 2021 not only unconstitutional but also unofficial document, asserts veteran politician Ojoy. Manipur tribal student body's indefinite economic blockade underway. Normal commercial vehicles movement disrupted. Hundreds of trucks stranded at Mao Gate. And BJYM Manipur Yuva bike rally taken out. BJP will get sweeping win in upcoming state General Assembly elections, says BJYM National President Tejaswi Surya. With that, it's a wrap for this evening news bulletin. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening.